People are often surprised to find out that their back pain, their hip pain, their knee pain, or any other postural issue is not really coming from the lower body itself, but it's being driven by something higher up, meaning head position. Now, head position really does determine overall body posture, and the research shows that, and I'm going to cite the research. But also, I'm going to be showing videos of how manipulations to someone's visual input or their jaw and their teeth completely change the tests or the ranges of motion in their hips. Because humans are asymmetric, there is a very normal postural position that people end up in where the left side of the pelvis is forward, the right side of the pelvis is back compared to the left, with the entire pelvis oriented to the right, and makes people kind of center their weight over their right side more than the left. And again, this is completely normal. The midline is more to the right than to the left. It's been observed for many, many years. So in that position, you'll often find left hip flexors that are very overactive and a right inner thigh or right adductor that is also very overactive. The left hamstring can be tight or it can be really loose. It depends on the situation. Now, when you see the videos of changes in range of motion, it's because those muscles turned off or turned on due to the sensory input from their visual system or the position of their jaw or the sensory input from a left molar. Actually, I found a recent research paper out of Italy that says that out of 37 test subjects, 34 had differences in their visual testing between the seated position and the standing position. So obviously standing is different because that's more postural in a upright gravitational sense with the influence of the vestibular system and the ground underneath your feet. So now the paper itself just has a great, just very basic foundation of what's known about posture and movement. And it just summarizes that, number one, postural control is a summation of postural reflexes. Postural body schema is influenced by head position, where the head is located. So head position really dictates what goes on with the rest of the body, and that's really important for this video. And head position is determined or regulated by the sensory feedback from the vestibular system, vision, vestibular systems between, inner ear, the vision, ocular motor muscles, so the muscles that move my eyes. If I move my eyes left, my body moves right, and vice versa. And dental occlusion, how your teeth touch, and I would include jaw position, obviously, as you're going to see in the video that I show. The primary sensory information to maintain postural balance is given by the visual system. That has been known for 50, 60 years. So that is what is in control of your upright posture and obviously your movement. So head position for this video, the important thing is head position. And whenever your vision is not right or your jaw is not positioned properly, your head is going to be forward and maybe shifted over to the right. So the point being, anytime a head moves forward, because of the influence then on the neck, and that pulls the chest up, you get stuck in a state of extension, spinal extension, which I talk about all the time. And that is what limits the testing in the pelvis that you're going to see. So first, this individual has a dental situation. He has a crossbite, but we also found that the only way he could pass his pelvis test was when he moved his jaw forward. So here's the first, the adduction. His left hip flexors are overactive. Now I just have him move his jaw forward, and he can adduct, no problem. Then I show for the right leg, jaw in normal position. His right leg cannot abduct, so his right adductor is overactive. Move his jaw forward, and he can abduct, no problem, so his right adductor is now off. So he was being held in that position, in the left AIC pattern, by his jaw position. Now this video is of someone who thought they had a very tight left hamstring, but in fact they had a missing left molar. So here's her straight leg raise. It's not a great view, it's not a great angle because I'm in this very small room, but her straight leg raise is about 60 degrees right now for her left leg. So left hamstring feels tight, her leg is stopping. And then she just puts a tongue depressor between her molars on the left side to give her brain a sense of teeth on the left side. and that straight leg raise went right to 90. So that was clearly a reflexive tension in her hamstring that was preventing that straight leg raise from actually occurring. Now, this individual had a prescription for his eyes that he did not wear. So you're going to see without the prescription first, his left leg does not adduct, so his hip flexors are on. With his prescription, no problem. Goes a little fast here. Right leg, without the prescription, completely locked up. And then with his prescription, no problem. The adductor's off. And then I just showed shoulder internal rotation and the difference. So his body was in a state of tension because he had a visual prescription that he was not wearing. So where the head goes, the body follows. And if the head is not situated properly because of either, a visual issue where someone has a prescription that they don't wear, or the jaw is mispositioned, it's too far back, or it's shifted to the one side, or they have a malocclusion, what you'll generally find is a head and neck that have come forward, and then when you test their neck, it doesn't move too well, and the rest of their body doesn't move too well either. The common denominator is, again, as always, the autonomic nervous system. This whole channel is about the autonomic nervous system. This ventral vagal system, these are some cranial nerves. The trigeminal nerve innervates the mouth and the jaw muscles, and actually one of your inner ear muscles. The glossopharyngeal is very much your tongue and also the throat area. And of course, you have the vagus nerve, which a lot of people know about the vagus nerve. The accessory nerve, that's your upper traps and your SCM. So they turn your head, they orient your head. So this ventral vagal system is all about orientation, communication, and feeding. In reality, it's called human life. So the brain really cares about the forward areas of the face. So anytime there's anything going wrong in that area, there's dysregulation, you go into a state of extension as the head and neck come forward because of this fight or flight response. So here's just a little schematic. If you have some sort of ventral vagal dysfunction, like a jaw that's too far back or shifted or a missing tooth, that creates alarm signals that are sent to the brain. The brain is saying there's something wrong, but it doesn't necessarily know what it is. So you get stuck into this fight or flight extension tone. So fight or flight is extension. That activates the sympathetic trunk muscles. That's extension tone. Those are your back, your lower back, your back extensors, your anterior neck, your hip flexors. That's what was turning on and off in those videos. And then as you're in that extended position, because of the forward head and neck and the pelvis that's stuck forward, it creates disordered breathing. Again, disordered breathing because you become an obligatory neck breather, or you're using your lower back to breathe too much. And because, obviously, this is really important, your hip flexors, your psoas muscle, and your diaphragm are contiguous. You can't separate them. So if you're stuck in extension and your hip flexors are overactive and your psoas is overactive, like in the video that I was showing, you can't use your diaphragms to breathe, so it just promotes more disordered breathing. And you just get stuck in this cycle until you put on another pair of glasses, actually with the mouth. Sometimes people need an actual dental intervention, and I've made many videos about this on this YouTube channel, through a splint. Maybe they need actually a replacement tooth, and an implant of some type, but not always. Sometimes jaws shift just because people have been stuck on one side for too long. That's not abnormal. Actually, the woman with the missing, the woman with the straight leg raise, she had an open bite on the left side, but I was able to close the bite with a postural restoration technique. She didn't really need a dentist to fix her situation. So not everything that looks like a dental situation actually requires a dentist. Sometimes postural restoration techniques can actually reposition the head in relation to the jaw because you're working in positions of the body. However, this is kind of the schematic of how it works. Now, with the visual system, it really becomes one of overfocus. So sometimes people have prescriptions that are too strong, which I've showed on this channel, and that's why they're tight. So they're being overcorrected because they're sitting when they get tested, but when they stand up, their brain says, I don't need that much power. But if you get over-focused in the distance, you lose periphery. You lose the ambient vision. You become over-focused foveal vision. That's just kind of, straight ahead. That's acuity, too much acuity. Or with the individual who really wasn't wearing his glasses when he really needed them because he was farsighted with a pretty high prescription, that was a loss of everything. He didn't have distance, he didn't have close, he didn't have periphery. That was just, everything was not clear for him. But when I matched his prescription, obviously all his testing changed. So you really don't know what you have in terms of, do you have a bad back or bad hips, or do you just have something like this going on? Now, let me also point out, this is not everybody. The number one reason someone gets, into this extension posture is simply life. Maybe they sit too much. They had an injury, an ankle injury. They shift over their right. They stay there, and they become stuck in a state of extension. It's not being driven by their vision, their jaw, or their teeth. So I wouldn't say out of, all the people that come to see me, do I have quite a few people who need visual help, like they have the wrong prescription? Yeah, quite a few. How many need, help dentally? Enough. I would say 20% of people at least have either something going on visually, meaning, and again, it could just be the wrong prescription, or they're going to need some dental help, so I have to actually refer them out to someone else. I would say maybe 20%. So what I don't want is for people to think, oh my God, this must be me because I have a tight hip or I can't, the stretching's not working. The point is there's a lot of factors that go into why someone's pelvis or hip musculature may remain tight that really have nothing to do with the pelvis itself, but are coming from further up the chain because, as the research shows, head position determines posture of the rest of the body, and head position is determined or influenced by the inner ear, your visual system, and your oral cavity.